My husband has put together 18 images. Half are artworks by famous artists. Half have been generated by AI to mimic those artists. My job is to guess which is which. Immediately, I get the feeling that this is not the AI generated one. There's wear and tear of the paint, if it is actually paint. Zooming in, it gets slightly blurry, which is not a good sign for AI. Okay, so the painting depicts the Virgin Mary holding a little baby Jesus and the 4 disciples in the back with a donkey. 1B is a portrait of a woman, blonde hair in a long braid. The other artwork looked very classical. This looks a bit more mannerist. Kind of looks like Elsa from Frozen, actually. I think that 1B is the AI created art. The first artwork feels more purposeful. It feels like there's a reason behind its painting. The second one feels very animated, which I feel like isn't that typical for paintings that would have been done around the period that it looks like, which is Mannerist Rococo.
You are correct. And it is indeed Elsa on the second one.
I knew it.
And who do you think the artist is for 1A?
I'm going to say Caravaggio.
It is Caravaggio. Well done.
Okay, I'm looking at 2A. It is an image of a woman with a few women at her feet. It looks like she's pregnant. There is a lot of pattern on her, and it's very obviously a Gustav Klimt work or AI inspired by Gustav Klimt. I've actually seen this work before. Let's look at the second one. It is again of a lady. She's sitting facing away from the viewer with something, I'm guessing fabric draped around her with Gustav Klimt's famous patterns on it, and her hands clasped at her front. I'm going to just already take a guess. The first one's the real one, the second one's AI.
That is correct.
Yeah, I know the first work. Okay, I'm looking at 3A, and it is The Scream by EDVARD Munch. This looks like a negative version of the artwork. I'm going to look at the second one. Okay, this one looks more like a sketched version with coloured pencils. I could see how both of them could be correct because there are multiple versions of The Scream. There are about 4 or 5 versions of The Scream painting itself. And then there are, I think it's lithographs, prints of it. Them both not looking exactly like the original image doesn't mean anything right now to me. I fully think that the second one is real, first one AI.
That's correct.
Now I'm looking at 4A. It's an abstract work with a lot of colour. It swirls into the centre. And the second one, I already thought it from the first one, but from seeing the second, I'm going to take the guess that it's Hilma af Klint. The second one feels more like the stuff I know her for, which is her flowers. So I'm going to take the guess that number 1 is real, number 2 is AI, and that it's Hilma af Klint.
Number 1 is real, but it's actually Georgia
O'Keeffe. Oh my god, I got the wrong one. Okay, I'm looking at 5A. This is a cubist portrait of a woman. This work doesn't look familiar to me at all. Obviously, the first name that comes to my mind is Picasso, but I won't say anything definitive yet. The second image is also a portrait of a woman in the cubist style. I've also never seen one that looks like this. So this one's actually a little bit difficult. The first one looks slightly less intentional. The second one looks like it has a meaning. Like it feels like there's intention behind it. The first one looks like it's like actually hand drawn. But again, AI might just be trying to get that texture from images they've seen of cubism before. I'm going to guess that it's Pablo Picasso just because I'm going to assume that my husband would choose him. And I'm going to take a wild guess that the second one is real, the first is AI.
The second one is real, it is Picasso.
Okay, looking at 6A. I think I know who this is already, but I'll wait a second. It looks like action painting, which is where you just splatter the paint on the canvas. It looks like down the bottom that there's a bit of like text, but it could just be me looking into things. This one looks slightly different to a lot of the action paintings I've seen, as it's a lot more splotches of colour. They're like larger splots. Usually it's a lot of string-like colour, not huge sections. Looking at the second one, I'm definitely going to say it's Jackson Pollock. It looks like the background is a bit more graffitied, and then it has all of the paint dripped on top. I'm already going to say number 2 is real. Number 1 is AI.
Yeah, that's correct as well.
So 7A is definitely surrealist. It's got what I'm assuming is a moon in the background that looks like an egg with a face. And then it's a desert with what looks a mix between a dead animal and a tree, and a castle in the background. This actually does look quite real, and it's something I can imagine a surrealist artist painting, because surrealist art is just honestly very confusing. You never know what the hell is going on with it. The second is a face. Kind of looks like it's melting. There's a chessboard, an eye missing. There's lots of water and a huge sky with some birds in it. There's pieces of what I'm assuming has fallen off of the face in the water. And in the bottom right hand side there's like a tunnel with water coming out of it. Just flick between them for a moment. I can see them both being a real artwork, but I feel like this is the hardest one yet, just because I feel like AI art would be very good at putting a bunch of random things together. But I am going to say number 1 is real, number 2 is AI, and it's Salvador Dali.
It is Salvador Dali, but B is real.
Okay. That doesn't surprise me too much.
It took me ages to make that one. I was like, if she's ever going to get one wrong from AI, it's going to be Salvador Dali.
Yeah. Looking at 8A, it is what I'm assuming is some wheat fields, and I'm immediately thinking of Van Gogh. There's some people harvesting some kind of plant, which if I'm right and it's Van Gogh, then it is wheat. The brush strokes are really short and really expressive. There's a lot of colour. They're very vibrant. There's a lot of movement. The sun is very similar to how the moon and the stars are painted in the Starry Night. So I'm going to look at the second one. Immediately already going to say this is AI, because it doesn't look like something Van Gogh would paint, because I'm already just saying this is Van Gogh 100%. It is very dark. Van Gogh did some dark work, but it was never this heavy, and his brush strokes would be a lot more visible than the strokes that are visible in this. These ones are a lot longer and a lot thinner, whereas in the first one they're stumpy and quite rounded. So I'm going to lock in that the first one's real, second one's AI, and that it's Van Gogh.
Yeah, that is right. We're on the money.
No, my Van Gogh. Okay, I'm looking at 9A and it is an unfinished Rubik's Cube. It's got a blue background and nothing else really much to it, so I'm going to go to the second image. And it looks like a screen printing or a diptych of some flowers and some grass. It looks like pop art to me, mostly the style of the second one and then the subject, the Rubik's Cube, of the first. And I'm going to guess if it's pop art, it is probably going to be Andy Warhol or Roy Lichtenstein, but I'm going to say that you would pick Andy Warhol. And I'm going to say that the second one is real. First one is AI.
Yeah, that's both correct.
So AI has become a very big trend right now, especially with filters appearing on TikTok. And while AI art has become really good, it's not quite the same as actual artworks from history. And it cannot come close to replicating it. Although there was one or two that I may have gotten slightly wrong, I think the majority show that AI art can't imitate art. It is a new form of creation, and I think it's something that could become its own medium, but it's not something that can replace something that is truly handmade by an artist, with meaning and with intention. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you want me to make more videos like this, please comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.